What the fuck? Ah! Hey guys, what's up? It's the Minecraft Sauce here today doing a video on lip syncing and mouth movement and eye blinking and pretty much everything related to the head. So I have created my head here. It's pretty much flat, no extrusions, no shape keys, which is what we're going to be learning today as well. No anything. So lip syncing, extruding, making your mouth move, that's what we're doing today. So the first thing you're going to need, of course, is your head. I have a dummy head here, not connected to an armature. If you don't have a giant rig, you should go watch my other tutorials. So the first thing we're going to do is select your head, press tab. This will bring us into edit mode. I'm going to click this face select thing down here. Basically, you can select either one point of the object, one whole side, or one whole face. We want face select, so I'll right click the front of the face, and then I'll hold shift, right click that side of the face, right click that. So basically we're selecting all the faces, like the whole cube. I want to make sure you have the whole cube selected. Now press W and click subdivide, and so we have some subdivisions, but we want more, so W subdivide until you get this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it's 8 by 8 subdivisions, so squares on each side, and we can, as you can see, interact with each one of these and move them. But we don't want this kind of extrusion here. We want solid extrusion. So it all depends on what parts of your character that you want extruded. So I'm going to first off select the mouth. By holding shift and right clicking, I can select multiple things, press E, and it will extrude automatically on a certain axis. Just press Z, or Z, X, or Y, depending on which way you want to extrude it. I'm going to extrude it this way. Oh crap, I actually didn't mean to select. Okay, so when extruding your mouth, it's kind of tricky. There's actually a special way that you have to do this. So first off, press E. Alright, now we want to have a lip on our character, so instead of extruding all the way back to get our entire mouth, first I'm going to extrude here, and then I'm going to extrude again. See how it made a line there? Yeah, we're going to be using that line for our lip movements and whatnot. So I'm going to select here, and basically I also have a tongue here, so I'm going to grab the rest of the mouth and press E and extrude it, and even throw in a little rotation. So R, and I'll be rotating on the Y axis so that it kind of tilts back a bit and creates some depth. So this is our mouth. You can also, of course, extrude your eyes. So if you want eyelids, select your eyes first, extrude it back a bit, right? Not too much. And then extrude it again for your eye sockets. So basically, I've got a lip here that I can modify if I want to. So the next thing we want to do is add shape keys. This is the stuff that will end up moving our character's lips and eyes and whatever we want. Like, we could even move the cheeks if we wanted to. So to create a shape key, you have to go over in this window over here and click, let's see, yes, this kind of triangular symbol next to the material tab, and we have vertex groups, texture space, shape keys. This is what we want. So the first thing we need to do is click plus. This will add a basis key. What the basis key is that this is what your character will look like whenever it's not occupied by a shape key. You need a basis key or this will not work. It will pretty much screw up pretty badly. So for my basis key, whenever you want to edit a shape key, just make sure you have the shape key selected first, and then let's say I want my mouth closed. That's what you're going to want. So I'm going to extrude this. I'm going to select the bottom and extrude it, and I think right about there. Maybe extrude the top lip a bit. Okay, that's good. So That's my basis key. This is what my character is going to look like when he's unoccupied by any other shape keys. Now there is one thing that will happen when you are extruding all these parts. So if I press F12, as you can see, the front of my face has my tongue on it. This can be corrected. Don't freak out. All you have to do is press tab. Alright, so we're going into kind of UV image editing mode. So there's a little tab thing down here. It's really hard to see that you can drag out a new window like that. So we will be able to see two windows. Then click this cube right here, kind of looks gray, and then go to UV image editor. This will bring up our previous render result. All we need to do is click this photo thing down here and click all me skin, whatever your skin is, and basically whenever we select a face over here, it will pop up in the UV image editor right here. That is why we are getting the effect that we are getting. So select all your faces that you want to change, and I want these faces to be skin color, so I'm just going to grab it down and drag it right there. Now if we render this, I've corrected the problem. But you still got a bit on your lip. You can also fix that. So for this, I've actually pulled out my rig just because I've done all the shape keys already, and I can show you basically what I did. So I'm going to go into tab mode. Actually, no, I'll stay in object mode, and then click this triangle, and here's all my shape keys. So I have a bunch of weird things. I've got my basis key, then I got my blink. That's pretty normal, so this is going to control the blink, and the mad eyes, that's going to make me angry. The sad eyes, that's going to make me sad. Weird eyes, blah blah blah. And then I got this stuff: A, O, U, E, L, F, V, ETC, MBP, rest. What does this all mean? Well, this is what we're going to be using when it comes to lip syncing. So before we get into now lip syncing, well, I actually forgot to show you how to create a shape key, so I'll go back to that. When you create a new shape key, the first thing that you have to do is, if you've created a previous shape key, you cannot select it when you're creating a new shape key, or else it'll basically duplicate that result, and we don't want that. So click the basis key and then click new or plus. This will create a key duplicated from the basis of which you can edit. So to edit it, well, first let's change the name to example just for this tutorial. And yeah, so now what you need to do is press tab, and this will go into edit mode and screw everything up for some reason, which I do not know. Not quite sure why that was happening, but when I replaced the key, it turned to normal. Okay, so to edit a shape key, basically add one. I'm going to name it example once again, and then just go into edit mode and edit it into the way you want your character's face to be. So I'm going to open his mouth just for a very, 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 very basic example. Okay, so after you're done editing it, just press tab. As you can see, it looks like your work is lost, but no, it's not. All you have to do now to see what you've done with the shape key is click example, make sure you have it selected, and then under the name example, it'll have value. So when you turn this up, it gradually gets to that point of which you edited it. See? Just like that. It's pretty cool. Now we're going to get into something very advanced, which is lip syncing. Basically making your character talk realistically. You're going to need to install a actual plugin. It's called, I can't even remember what it's called. I will put a link in the description below, and I'm going to teach you how to install it since it is kind of weird. So go to File and then User Preferences, and then where is it? But here we go. Input, no, Add-ons. Okay, so click Add-ons after Preferences and then Install from File. Basically what you're going to want to do is with the link in the description, it will just show up random text. So copy that text and open a new notepad file and then paste it into that notepad file. And so here's the text document. I'm going to save this and I'm going to name it plugin install lip.py. Okay, I'm going to try this and I think it's actually going to work. So name it .py, but save as type all files and not text. Okay, So I saved that to my desktop, and of course it shows up. Install from file, and it should install. And now it'll come up right here, and then just click this select button. So now it is in use. I'm going to save my settings and exit the preferences window. So now, in your menu, or your side menu, one of them, press T for it to show up. If you scroll down, this thing will come up. It's the Lip Sync Importer and Blinker plugin. And basically, you're going to need also another program, which I will also link in the description below. And pretty much, it's going to do all the lip syncing for you. Before we do get into the rest of this lip syncing and tell you how to use Papagayo, which is what we will be using for lip syncing, you actually need prior shape keys. So basically, if I click this weird stuff, A, I, O, U, E, these are called phonemes. Basically, every time you talk, you make a phoneme. So like, oh, so look, it's the shape that your mouth makes when you talk. And so A, see if I turn the volume up all the way to A, this is what happens. And you actually need to name it specifically, all caps, A, I, O, U, E, L, F, V, ETC, MBP, rest, and Q. That's all the ones that you need. Also, one last note, before you do actually do this, edit these shape keys to look like the phonemes, rest actually has to be the exact same as your basis, or you're going to get some weird framing. Just before I do move on though, I want to kind of show you the examples. So A looks like that, kind of my tongue's back, my lips are perched, kind of my face is wide. Alright, O, obviously we've got kind of an O, that's pretty self-explanatory, it's a circle. You're kind of whistling. U, kind of my whole tongue is going yeah, yeah, just like try yourself. And E, obviously, I've kind of perched my cheeks and like puffed them out so that it makes an E sound. And L, my tongue is kind of touching the top of my mouth. F, V, so so I kind of did this shape with my mouth. And then ETC is kind of like E, T, T, E, K, K, you know, all those kind of sounds. And then MBP is kind of the same thing, except it's M, B, B, P, everything like that. And then rest is basically your basis. So duplicate your basis and name it, rest. And then Q, Qu, Qu. I didn't really edit that, but yeah, that's the examples. Okay, so I got Papagayo pulled up here, and this is pretty much what it'll look like. And I also got Sound Recorder pulled up. Basically, you're going to need the file that you want to lip sync to your character. So I've already got that, and all you have to do is... So I've remembered now why I couldn't find my file, and that is actually because... You actually got to convert your file if you're using, for example, Sound Recorder. So Papagayo will only actually read .wav files, so that records .mp3 files, so I'm gonna use this site here that I'll also try and link in the description below. Find my sound file, tutorial sample, open, and output at .wav convert, and it should download shortly after. Download, and here we got it in my downloads. Okay, so I found it in my downloads. All I have to do now is click open, and it comes up with what I said. So we can go ahead and play this. So you might not be able to hear it depending on my recorder and if it wants to cooperate today, but yeah, that's it. It's on there, but we're not done. So now what we have to do is type in what the text, like spoken text. Okay, so I've typed in the text, and there's one thing that you need to also pay attention to before I actually do this next part. The FPS up here, this changes the FPS. If you have Blender running at 30 frames per second, which is what I usually have it running at, right here, 30 FPS, and then you have Papagayo at 24 frames per second, everything is going to be completely out of sync. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 30, and it kind of gets spread out a bit more. So, phonic breakdown, we're going to click English, and it should pop up right here. So, I like big butts, and I cannot lie. All you have to do now is stretch out the phonemes or words over your audio file, and that's about it. That's what you do. Oh wow. Something I forgot to point out is this big green line is actually adjustable, so if your audio starts, for example, right here, you can drag it to be there and then edit it from there. For a more accurate actual lip sync, if you have very, very small spaces in between a word, if I can get to it, like between and I and cannot, just stretch the I out to there, and then it'll kind of transition a lot better instead of going to what the phoneme would be rest and then going to cannot. So it'd make it a lot smoother. Also, make sure you drag out the green bit as well with the voice. Not sure if you can actually drag it out further than that, which is kind of weird. So just keep caution of that. You can only do certain length of clips, but yeah. But an alternative to this is to click New underneath Voice List and cut up the things into I'm not sure, I think it's maybe like, I'm not sure how many seconds that is. You'll have to count, but cut up your audio files and then put them in voice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and do them all individually, and then piece them together in Blender, which I'll show you how to do in a second. When you are finished editing in Papagayo, all you have to do is click this export voice button down here, save it to whatever. So I'm going to save it to my downloads. Remember where you save it, and it's going to save as .dat. So I'm going to type in voice and save. Okay, so with that .dat file, now what we need to do is go back into Blender, of course, and make sure we're on lip syncing mode. Click Papagaya, or Gaio, sorry, and then find your .dat file. So I think I saved it around here, and damn. Took me a while, but I found it. So open that, and it should have this right here. Now, there's actually something about this plugin that actually isn't working too well with Blender, and that is basically the directory of which it identifies where your thing is. So that may not happen for me. It could happen to you. Either way, if it does or not, I'll show you how to fix the issue. Anyway, so let's get into the rest of the settings before we do the importing. So, ease off, basically, this is gonna take how long it takes for the kind of motion to ease off. Hold gap, so hold and then ease out, so that's just the opposite. 2 and 0 and 2 is usually the best. So now I'm going to plot my keys to the timeline, and it comes up with this error, which is basically the directory thing. So let me teach you how to fix that. Okay, so basically what you have to do is you have to open up Windows Explorer and find where you saved your voice.dat or whatever you named it. Alright, what we're going to do now is right click it, go into Properties. It should pop up, and we should have a directory right here. So it says location, we want to copy this, and right where it says downloads and voice.dat, right, we're going to delete everything beyond the slash and have voice.dat, and then paste, and then we're actually missing a backward slash. There we go, so we should have the proper directory now. Now when we plot to the timeline, it properly comes up. And so now that it comes up and it's identified the shape keys that I currently had, if we press play, I actually talk. Now, if you want to include the audio in Blender that you included in Papagayo, all you have to do is open a new window, so kind of drag it out, click this gray cube like we did with the UV image editing, and instead of UV image editor, click, I believe, video sequence editor, and this will bring up a bunch of tracks. All you have to do is find your audio file, so test or tutorial sample, there we go, and then drag it into Blender, and I'm going to put it at the very start. So there we go. That's what we want it to be at. Also, keep in mind when you do plot the keys to the timeline, yeah, it matters that your green timeline thing is at the beginning. Now, it happens in playback. Like when you play, you can hear the audio, but oh, that's actually pretty cool. But if you want it to play back, just click playback and then audio scrubbing, and so this will help you if you want to further adjust. If you want to actually do like further adjust it, change your layout from default to animation, and then right here you'll have these two new windows. One is the keyframes that were implemented for the shape keys, and then there was also the graph, which kind of shows you all the curves, which is pretty cool. So that's the end of my tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm the Minecraft Sauce. Please subscribe. Please support me. I'll be making more tutorials in the future. Bye, guys.